Hello, my name's Olu Osha. I like talking about American presidents. Today, I want to talk about our 42nd president, Bill Clinton, who was a governor from Arkansas. He was a Democrat. I'm not going to talk uh, significantly about his biography and other things or other aspects of his administration because today I want to focus specifically on his crime bill of 1994. It's become notorious for the black community because it exacerbated uh, the, the mass incarceration and disproportionate incarceration rates of black Americans. It caused a lot of social dysfunction, broke up the homes of black Americans as they were incarcerated at about 12 times the rate of white people. And of course, today America has the most incarcerated population in the world. Over 2.3 million Americans are incarcerated or associated with the penal system or under the penal system. This is larger than even China. It's larger than anywhere else in the world. Bill Clinton is partly responsible. You can credit him for this. Unfortunately, in fact, he admitted to it in a 2015 speech to NAACP. He did say that he did pass a bill that made a bad situation worse. So anyway, Bill Clinton, was a governor, Democratic governor from Arkansas. He was 32 years old as a governor. We know he went to Georgetown for undergrad, went to Yale Law School. Prior to Yale Law School, he was a Rhodes Scholar and went to Oxford University, which gave him an opportunity to avoid Vietnam, the Vietnam War, and so he's one of our recent presidents, most recent presidents who never served in the military. Of course, that includes Barack Obama and our incumbent president Donald Trump. The baby boomer presidents who did not serve in the military. At least George W. Bush was in the National Guard. He never saw action though, but he was in the Texas National Guard. So Bill Clinton, like I said, he was governor of Arkansas, and although he was a two-term president, known as a comeback kid. Everybody knows his famous wife, Hillary Clinton, the only woman who won a popular vote, but she unfortunately lost the electoral college to President Donald Trump for his first term as president. She won the popular vote by about 3 million votes, but did lose the electoral college, like I said. Now, that's President Bill Clinton. His presidency was marred by several scandals, notably the salacious Monica Lewinsky sexual scandal in which he committed perjury, saying he didn't have sex with that woman, and he was subsequently impeached. But the investigation into Monica Lewinsky, which uncovered that scandal, uncovered by the independent counsel Kenneth Starr, actually followed in the wake of another investigation into a corruption scandal. That was the Whitewater scandal, in which neither Bill Clinton nor Hillary Clinton were ever charged with crimes. They didn't find enough evidence to charge them with crimes, even though their associates were convicted for felonies, including the McDougalls. But it was discovered that Bill Clinton, as governor, may have pressured the giving of a $300,000 loan to Susan McDougal. In any event, let me briefly say what the Whitewater scandal was. So in the 70s and 80s, The Clintons were involved in an investment, a real estate investment scheme in which, you know, there was a real estate, investment in vacation homes in the Ozark Mountains in Arkansas. It lost money, and one of the pioneers in that scheme, and associates of Bill Clinton and Hillary Clinton were the McDougalls, a husband and wife couple, the McDougalls, who were also involved in another apart from the real estate scandal that lost money, they were involved in a savings and loans association scandal that cost the American government $73 million when it failed. That was the Madison Guarantee. And so, as I said, the Clintons were never, there was never sufficient evidence to charge the Clintons with crimes, and it is largely, it's a consensus that this was just a series of political witch hunt against the Clintons in any event, in any way. But what I want to talk about are, Bill Clinton's policies that adversely impacted Black Americans, and we're still feeling, the fallout till today. Of course, Bill Clinton changed welfare as well. As he said, he changed welfare and so that it was never the way it was before. And the other thing he did was pass a notorious crime bill, which was the Violent Crime Control and Law Enforcement Act of 1994, also known as Bill Clinton's crime bill. And it's amongst its salient features were the three strikes, right? Three strikes, so that apart from expanding, a death penalty for the federal death penalty for new crimes, new offenses, it also meant that defendants who had been involved in three violent crimes or drug offenses would get life imprisonment. And of course, this disproportionately impacted Black men, right? And this is part of what caused many Black homes with no fathers, because there was a disproportionate impact on Black communities. Bill Clinton also, the bill also gave over $30 billion to recruit 100,000 cops, right? And it also implemented the COPS program. The COPS, that's acronym for community-oriented policing services, right? And so, of course, with this combined with qualified immunity, which was established in 1967, which basically created high barriers to holding police who were guilty of misconduct accountable. So, Bill Clinton's crime bill, it unleashed a wave of police abuse and brutality against Black lives and Black communities. So, again, Blacks are incarcerated at 12 times, from the 3 strikes and you're out. They're 12 times more likely to be incarcerated by the three strikes and you're out bill than white Americans. So Black and brown communities were just heavily impacted by these crime bills passed by President Bill Clinton. It's destroyed Black communities. Another terrible aspect of the Bill Clinton crime bill, of course, was the exacerbation of the school to prison pipeline, because cops were now were sent to police schools, right? You shouldn't have cops in schools, but this exacerbated, triggered, and heightened the classroom to prison pipeline, which has destroyed the lives of many black men in America, especially black youth. An unfortunate aspect of the bill also is it also led to the undereducation of black men. When I say undereducation, so anybody who's been part, a provision of the bill is that people who've been incarcerated before are disqualified from receiving Pell Grants. Pell Grants are sort of free funding, free grants that Americans don't have to repay. Blacks who come from disadvantaged communities who want to go to college, they can use Pell Grants to go to school. But with the Bill Clinton crime bill, it's disqualified, black men, black people who were incarcerated, fairly and unfairly, unjustly at atrocious rates. It heavily disqualified many of them, especially black men, from having access to college education and good education. The education they could get would be in prison, but who wants to hire a convict anyway? So some people have pointed out the positive aspects of the Bill Clinton crime bill, such as the Violence Against Women Act, and the establishment of the sex offender registries. So again, this is minimal, but it devastated black communities. It was a new way to disenfranchise black men and destroy their lives. It reinforced convict leasing. Now, let me just quickly talk a little bit about convict leasing. So, after slavery was abolished during the Reconstruction amendments, in the 1860s, after the Civil War, the South would pass convict leasing laws to sort of replace slavery. So convict leasing was the South, through Jim Crow laws, they would establish a cocktail, a variety of laws that targeted black Americans, right? And they included very minor offenses. So black people could be sent to jail for minor offenses such as vagrancy laws, not having a job, being in, there were sundown laws and all sorts of things, because sharecropping now replaced slavery, right? So convict leasing, it was a way to control black people, right? To keep them under control, because remember, during slavery, black people were the property of white people, but now they're trying to establish themselves, they're trying to establish equal citizenship. But of course, with the Compromise of 1877, which removed federal troops from the South and caused the federal government to abandon Reconstruction under President Rutherford B. Hayes, the Southern Democrats, white Democrats, established Jim Crow laws, and convict leasing was one of the tools that they used to replace slavery. So they were able to incarcerate black people for minor offenses such as being vagrants, because blacks were not giving money, they weren't given any resources. Once they were set free, they were slaves, so they had to hire themselves out as wage labor. But historians often point out how, even though slavery was an abomination, was a terrible, horrifying institution, but because a slave was sort of an investment, it was viewed as a capital investment for the slave owner, he was sort of required to take care of the slave, right? To take care of his enslaved person. So because it was an investment, he was able to get loans, and he was able to, it was capital investment for him. It was the source of his building wealth. So he basically had to take care of his enslaved person. But now, in the sharecropping system, with the abolition of slavery, the disgruntled, white plantation owner who was not happy, lost, his slave property, right? Paid him uh, wages that could barely take him home. A subsistence wage level that was worse than was available for the upkeep of an enslaved person. And so the free black American now, you know, would have, now that they should have been free to be able to get up and, go and seek better employment opportunities, the, white plantation owners, right, the southern states try to control them by passing these vagrancy laws, these cocktail of Jim Crow laws that kept black people under their control. They could be incarcerated if they tried to seek better working conditions, better employment. They could be easily incarcerated, and they became convicts. And in the convict leasing, the states now leased the convicts out to private businesses, railroad companies, agricultural corporations, and they could work them to death. They didn't have to take care of them the way the slave owner took care of his enslaved person, because it was a capital investment. The convicts were just seen as prisoners of the state. The state didn't care if they died or not. So, they were terrible conditions. It was a new form of slavery. It was abolished in 1941 under President Franklin Delano Roosevelt. But Bill Clinton's crime bill sort of reestablished this new form of slavery, because remember, under the 13th Amendment, while slavery is banned in the society, convicts can be enslaved. So if you're convicted of a crime, you can be enslaved. So Bill Clinton's crime bill, which led to mass incarceration. In fact, they said during his presidency, there was a 43% increase in incarcerated people in correctional facilities, right? So under incarcerated people, when they're in jail, they can be they're still made to work, right? They say you're getting employment, but guess how much they were paying them as of 2025? Again, I've talked about how I've been wrongfully detained after swatting, and I was framed by Montgomery County Police. So in detention, I saw people were being made to work for $2 a day. So you work a whole day for $2 a day, right? $2 a day. This is what they were paying people when like 80 years ago, a century ago in America. You earned $2 for an entire day of work. So you made $60 a month. $60 a month for working. So it's because it's jailed people who have to cook. But the thing is, it's a contract, right? You're the one who is volunteering to work, right? You vote because they say you're going to get a lighter sentence, or they might let you go. They'll say put in a good word for you. So it's a new form of slavery. They're coercing black men, and you see black men saying, well, they got a job, they got a job. It's an unfortunate thing, and it's unfortunate that our 42nd president, a Democrat from the South, he exacerbated the already deplorable conditions that black men have been put in due to a legacy of slavery and Jim Crow. Let me stop here. My name is Olu Osha. I like talking about American presidents, and I draw attention to color of law violations, pivoting on subordination of perjury and fraud on the courts, which led to my swatting and wrongful detention. I was shot in the head following false accusations, a completely fabricated, unorchestrated, swatting in order to obstruct justice and obstruct an EEOC case I had filed, and Office of Special Counsel complaint I had filed, and Inspector General complaints I had filed in the Department of Defense and Department of Navy for fraud and other misconduct. Jide Wari was used to swat me. He filed a fraudulent, completely perjured and fabricated emergency evaluation petition. I I have no history of mental illness. I'm not a violent person. I've never owned a gun. They've spread all sorts of disinformation and lies, including that I threatened to shoot someone, that I said I was going to bomb someone. I've never had a trial. All of these are fabrications. And they had a series of doctors, crooked doctors in Maryland from the South. For instance, a doctor went to school in South Carolina. I'd never use such a doctor because many of these people are racist, right? So my aunt is a psychiatrist. They're medical doctors. My cousins are medical doctors. They're physicians. My very good friends are, they're psychiatrists. I have somewhere to go if I were ever in need of treatment or anything. I'd go to my church, right? I'm a devout Christian. I have a great family. I come from a very good family. My father was a bank CEO and bank chairman, right? My uncle is is a chairman of a leading investment bank. My family has the resources, the means to take care of me. But my family is in Nigeria, right? I would not seek anything from a racist state of Maryland. My name's Olu Osha. I'm seeking justice. I'll keep you posted. Thank you.